Welcome back to the Blister and Muck podcast. I'm Jenny Mason, your host and the creator of the Blister and Muck series. This week, Blister sports a cunning strategy to block Muck's departure. In fact, he's goaling all out. As you may recall, Muck's family relocated to Europe after the fire. They don't know it, but a telegram telling them Muck is alive is on its way. Blister is certain the Furbanks will summon Muck to join them overseas. With the clock ticking, Blister puts it all on the line. He'll do anything and everything to make the one-for-one and none-for-all lifestyle more appealing. He'll stop at nothing until he achieves a net gain. You could say he has high hoops. I can't cover all the wins and outs just yet, but I'm sure you get the picture. My producers are threatening to intercept my mic if I don't curtail these sports puns. Suffice it to say, there's plenty more where that came from. Do you play sports? Do you like to watch sports? I recognize sports aren't everyone's cup of tea. For instance, if you are the kind of person who always thinks outside the box, then being a goalie is not for you. And if you're very affectionate, you'll definitely want to avoid tennis. Love means nothing to tennis players. Even if you aren't into sports, much of the world is, and has been for quite a long time. In fact, here's an important point. Many of today's most popular sports emerged in the 1800s. Before 1845, for instance, you couldn't catch a baseball game. Likewise, American football touched down in the late 1860s, borrowing elements from older sports like soccer and rugby. Hockey sticks to the timeline around 1875. Tennis, as we know it today, also racketed up popularity in the 1870s. The 1890s served up volleyball, which was originally called mintonette, because it was partially based on badminton. And I don't get to conclude this history lesson until I mention basketball, which began in 1895. To be sure, plenty of sports existed and were enjoyed before the 1800s. However, sports attained never-before-seen levels of popularity in this era, and that includes people playing them and people watching them. Why is an excellent question. More and more people achieved middle-class status. They made enough money from their jobs to afford some fun. They also worked jobs with set hours. That left them time to actually go have a little fun. As more games were played with better equipment, the players also got better and better. Some were paid to play, and this kicked off quite the controversy. You see, some people believed sports should only be played as a way to keep a person physically fit, mentally strong, and ethically robust. Sportsmanship taught people how to play by the rules and not cheat. It encouraged good manners as you learned to maintain your dignity even in the face of defeat. Playing for money and playing only to win was considered wrong. What's your experience been like? Whether you play on a sports team or a robotics team, what motivates you when you go head-to-head with another team? Is it winning or is it learning? Perhaps more importantly, what does it mean to win? Is it just compiling the most points? Or does winning represent something even larger or grander than that? I bring all this up because I'm not sure if Blister's aiming for victory or courting disaster. Episode 13. Settling the Score. Dawn entered the caverns under XS Capital Bank, not with light, but scent. Moist and tangy mildew odors faded. Day's breath was as nutty and dry as a walnut. The shifting smells roused Blister from a rankled sleep. His nightmares ghouled with wharf rats, the breathless house wreckage, and European landscapes. Blister had never seen Europe, but he was certain it was just as craggy, warty, and altogether ugly as it appeared in his dreams. He vacated the warm and cozy stone basin he shared with Muck. He plucked Spindle from his web and snuck out of the caverns. Across the city, the bell tower sat in shambles. Blister imagined Madame Putresca's telegram passing swiftly from paw to paw, tracing its way to Muck's family. Soon they would send a reply. Would they leave Europe to reclaim Muck? Or worse, would they summon him to come live with them so far away? Blister's resolve solidified. The sooner he restored the former condition of the bell tower, the sooner he could remind Muck of all the independence he had gained there. Independence he would lose if he went to Europe. With a grunt, Blister told Spindle, "Let's get to work." He put the least broken, least chipped, and least chewed candlesticks back into boxes. He swept away the wax bits and cloth tatters. With Spindle's help, he hung the damaged banners and streamers. He repaired the beds and even tidied the old nests for horchata and seltzer. To the casual observer, it might appear as though Blister planned to remind Muck of all the happiest times they had spent together. But the casual observer would be wrong. Blister absolutely knew he absolutely detested sharing his home with another rat. Unfortunately, those absolute feelings did not matter. If Muck's one-for-one and none-for-all lifestyle was at risk, then Blister was honor-bound, as the inventor of that lifestyle, to prevent his fellow rat from making a huge mistake. Progress in cleaning the bell tower was slow and hard-won. Putresca's prediction proved correct. Night after night, the wharf rats returned to ransack the tower. So Blister repeatedly slogged to the bell tower to clean and repair. On the way to or from the cathedral, he paid visits to the scabby junk castle and the townhouse on Atramental Avenue. Surely by now, Yana's severe allergies must have cleared. No doubt she'd want to extract another electric bubble from Blister's thoughts, for which he ought to receive yet another basket of bakery treats. This time, Blister would make the treats the centerpiece of a homecoming celebration in the cathedral. But he never found Yana at either residence. Mrs. Chettingley chaired suffragist meetings that now overflowed the sugar-glittered parlor in the townhouse. At the Hodgepodge Castle, Blister observed the shabby Dr. Van Sangfreud look-alike through the windows. He shuffled between rooms as if lost in an unending maze. The delivery trucks made their rounds. The servants hoarded the deliveries downstairs. And Yana was nowhere in sight. Blister fell in the habit of carting away the bell tower's trinkets and tokens. Muck was most delighted to receive the wing-ding game pieces, as many as Blister was able to pick out of the rubble. Muck spread the spotted wings and carapaces out on a stone table in the dining hall and traced one claw around their dots. "Jolly junketing, blithe beguilement," he mused. The image of a scoreboard took shape in Blister's mind. On it, Europe and all its limitations for Muck sat at 0, while Blister's side, representing Muck's potential freedom through the one-for-one and none-for-all creed, racked up points. 2 or 3, maybe even 4. Upon returning from the cathedral late one evening, Blister found the caverns buzzing with excitement as the result of 2 bulletins. The first was the front page of the newspaper, inked with the shocking announcement that a rhinoceros had been stolen from the Blaakrust Zoological Park. Muck audibly wowed at the pictures of the rhino's cage with thick iron bars parted like boiled spaghetti noodles. Blister blinked at Orville Whitmore's headshot. Woolly sideburns framed the young, sorrowful face. A rug of wild curly hair topped his head. The coils of hair seemed to harbor a desire to fly south for the winter. The director of the Blaakrust Zoological Park was not the man at the train station, or the circus, or in Jana's crumbling castle. Suspecting Dr. Van Sangfreud masterminded the rhino theft, opeRATives scoured the newspaper article and photographs for more clues. Blister confirmed their suspicions when he pointed to a cat ankling around zoo staff in one of the press photos. "I will be paying Orville Whitmore a visit," Madame Petresca declared, folding the paper with a chop. The second bulletin came from Puss and his team of opeRATives, who hefted in a long tube of rolled paper. "For weeks now," Puss explained, "we've been hunting them traps, trying to deter animals from 'em. It is no easy thing locating invisible things, and spotting those big batteries powering the traps ain't no easy task, 'cause everything these days has a battery now. But then we noticed a pattern. Gangs of cats acted as sentinels around most traps. I tell you what," he mopped his brow dramatically, "them cats are nothing but trouble. If'n they don't get you backed into that cage, they sure as heck give their all to shred you." "We are all commending your tenacity," Petresca said. She tapped the paper tube. "I am hoping you are not having a cat rolled up in this." "No, ma'am, Madame Petresca," Puss said. "Besides interfering with those traps, we still had your orders to find a poster advertising the Dr. Van Sangfreud traps and where they are swapped for money. That was no simple chore. Dang near every day new posters for new gizmos are glued over the old ads. But today, at last, we found our prize." While the opeRATives unrolled the glossy poster as big as a bed cover, Spindle hopped anxiously on Blister's head. Muck knotted his paws. Blister sweated under his fur. He hadn't paid any attention to the address on the poster that fateful day when he first met Muck. He hadn't the time for reading, not with Scab and her rat pack trying to steal his delectable apple. Not long after that escape, he and Muck witnessed the camouflaged electromagnetic mesh snap into a cage, scaring the wits out of poor Muck. Now Blister fretted. What if the goat-bearded chap duping Jana had the posters printed with the address on Tenebrous Hill? First, Jana might be wrongly incriminated in the animal trapping schemes. Then, when the opeRATives uncovered Blister's ties to Jana, he himself might be in trouble. Blister glimpsed Muck observing him with his usual bright and hopeful expression. His own heavy frown lifted. "Once we found the ad, I realized Blister's memory was more jigged than a barn dance," Puss complained. "Nothing's wrong with my—" Blister stopped as he read the poster. "Dr. Van Sangfreud's Impressive Imprisoners. Pickup service, now available." "This poster is totally different from the one I saw," Blister insisted. "The traps were called Incredible Incarcerator Traps, and there was a place where people could take them to redeem for 22 cents. Well, we know from our meeting with Dr. Van Sangfreud at the circus that he was trapping rats as a way to be finding me and these caverns. When rats are refusing to be revealing me, he was scrambling their minds. Maybe he is renaming the traps when he started stealing all kinds of creatures." "Indeed," Muck said. "He rebrands the business and keeps addling animals. Although I can hardly hazard how that helps improve mankind's flawed figure." "I don't know that," Puss said. But it seems to me this animal trapping started off small and grew into a sophisticated outfit. Here's what I've seen. People get those traps delivered same way they get milk or ice. They don't realize it, but those dadgum cats make sure those traps fill up. Then they send a scout to alert the pickup service. A motorized truck arrives. The trap gets loaded up in the back, the people cough up a payment, and a new invisible trap gets set out. It's a real slick business. Where are these trucks going? Putreska rocked on her toes. Don't know, Puss said. So far the cats keep us from following. We must keep trying. Putreska punched her paws together. Puss agreed. My Grand Ratty used to say, the purse of persistence always pays. With a smug grin, he wadded the poster and shoved it at Blister with an order to take out the trash. To Crud and Puss, Putreska said, In the morning, I am wanting your teams to locate a trap-delivering truck. I am not caring if there is giant, fire-breathing cats. Find out where those trucks are going. We must be shutting down Dr. Van Sangfreud's whole operation as soon as possible. Okay? Okay. Everyone else, back to your posts. Seltzer slid to his knees in front of Putreska. Put me on a team, please. I want to help take down the rogues who rattled poor Horchata. I do not care if other pigeons see me and report me to the Grand Feather. Honey, don't worry about him. We go way back. I'll be sending word you and Horchata are working a job for me, but I am promising to return you when I am done. Seltzer flapped off the ground, molting feathers. Yahoo! No more pedal boats in the sewers! What about us? Muck hooked his arm around Blister's and rocked between his heels and toes. What about you? Putreska tucked her paws in her elbows. I am only ever sending opeRATives on dangerous missions. Oh, I see. Muck stopped rocking on his feet. He slid his arm from Blister's as he whispered, Sorry, Blister. A rat's gotta do what a rat's gotta do. He stepped forward. Consider me an inductee of your industry. Okay, you are to be helping Crud tomorrow. Muck leapt forward and shared a victory slap with Seltzer. What about me? Blister asked. Aren't you wanting to be cleaning up your bell tower? Blister's dueling impulses pulled him in opposite directions. On one side, he felt the tug of his one-for-one and none-for-all philosophy. No way could he join the opeRATives and start taking orders or participating in some stupid team. On the other side, he felt drawn to keep close to Muck. Not because he might miss the silly silver whisker. Blister knew nothing like that would ever rust its way into his heart. Rather, he wanted every opportunity to convince Muck to steer clear of Europe in order to keep his newfound independence and not throw away everything Blister had worked so hard to teach him. Blister stammered. But couldn't I help with help? Since when are you being the helping type? Putreska scoffed. The math crunched quickly in Blister's head. He saw both the equation and the solution. He would have more chances to steer Muck away from choosing his family in Europe if they were both opeRATives. Count me in, he declared. Puss leaned against a stalagmite and scratched his head. Call me a tapeworm in a dung heap, 'cause I done passed through and seen everything now. The other opeRATives released a collective breath of surprise. Crud whispered to Meyer something about losing a bet. Fungus and Yuck pretended to faint with shock. Muck snatched Spindle off Blister's shoulder and swung the spider in joyous circles. Putreska's eyes narrowed into slits. Are you being sure, Blister? I won't be having you joining and quitting over and over like breaking record. Blister crossed his arms. Are you gonna assign me something to do, or am I going to have to take over this operation? Very well, Putreska sneered. I am thinking you will be coming with me to question Orville Whitmore. You thought right, Blister exclaimed, even though he no longer had any interest in interrogating the zoo director. While all the remaining opeRATives ambled away, Muck gently tugged the scraggly hairs on Blister's elbow. He bounced at the knees as he said, We're opeRATives now, Blister. Practically prodigal pirates on a crushing crew. The imaginary scoreboard logged more points. Europe, 0. Blister, 6. Or 7. Surely Muck would not go to Europe now that he was an opeRATive for Madame Putreska. Yes, we're swaggering swashbucklers. Blister played along. Tomorrow, don't do anything stupid. Remember, 1 for 1 and none for all. Muck nodded in earnest. I'm sure we can all agree that becoming an opeRATive just to score points with Muck is probably the least despicable thing Blister could do, all swings considered. Of course, I think as events unfold, we'll have to judge on a case-by-case basis. That aside, we've got to admit that Dr. Van Sangfreud sure is rotten to the score. Tune in next week to find out what happens when Blister and Madame Putreska double-team Orville Whitmore's interrogation. In the meantime, stop by blisterandmuck.com and use the contact form to tell me what you think will happen next. Or tell me about your favorite sports. What's more important to you, simply winning or learning other lessons? Know any sports jokes better or worse than this one? What goes all the way around the baseball field, but never moves? The fence. You'll never miss an episode when you click the orange subscribe button at blisterandmuck.com. This show is 100% listener supported, which is why your listening is never interrupted with a commercial break. I hope you'll consider supporting the show by making a donation or selecting an awesome item at the Blister and Muck gift shop. A portion of every purchase is applied to the costs of web hosting, music, and sound effects essential to every episode. Plus, I reward your considerate action with a secret surprise included in every order. Simply visit blisterandmuck.com and click Support the Show. And yes, I'm fully aware that if Blister fails to keep Muck from relocating to Europe, I'm gonna have to rename this show and redo all the rockin' t-shirts, hats, tote bags, and face masks in the gift store. What do you think sounds better? Blister and Madame Putreska? How about Blister and Seltzer and Horchata? Ugh, that's too long. Blister and the Pigeons. Nope, sounds like the ingredients for the next global pandemic. Blister and Gorgeous George. No, that won't work. Everyone will think we play punk rock with a glam twist. Oh, I've got it. Blister and the evil, elusive mad scientist with electric traps. Okay, this is not working out. Blister really, really, really needs to keep Muck from leaving. Special thanks to Roland Rudzitis for serving up the Blister and Muck theme song. Additional public domain music by Kevin MacLeod and Mon Plaisir. Daniel Simeon provided the drippy cave sounds. I am always so thankful to have my family, friends, and fans. 1 for 1, and all for you.